Claude Code is awesome AI agent for coding, and if you are a developer, it can do a lot of tasks for you. In this video, I want to show you some basics of Claude Code and how you can use it efficiently so it provides more reliable code. So if you're interested, please continue watching. So in docs of Claude Code, you can find some installation instructions depending on your system, whether you're on Mac or Windows or Linux. So please follow them. I assume you have Claude Code installed already. Now, how I usually work in Claude Code. So I use Cursor as my main IDE, and I open terminal inside Cursor in the folder of my project. So in order to run Claude, I just type Claude in command line. And we see this window. So we see that there is Claude Code, and we see this input text area where we can type some commands, and it will do things for us. And Claude suggests us this example. Try how does page.tsx work. So let's just run this command and see what happens. Now you see that Claude is thinking, then it does some search, it read file. Now you can see after some thinking, it tells us what this page.tsx looks like. So it tells us about two page.tsx files and how they basically work. And in Claude Code, you can not just ask how something works, but you can also ask Claude to modify your existing files. So let's try to understand how this works. If you see what Claude Code is doing here, it is doing search, then it does read and read again. So these things are called tools, and tools like LLM in Claude, it can decide to use one of these tools to find some files. And it's a good idea before you start coding with Claude Code just to ask Claude what tools does it have, so what it can basically do. What tools do you have? Now, and Claude tells you what tools it has. So it has read tool, which can read files. It has write tool, which creates new file. So you see now that agent can decide to use read tool, or it can decide to use write tool to create a new file, or edit tool to replace something in existing file, so to make an edit in a file. It also has glob and grep tools, so basically for file search. Notebook edit, so it can also work with notebooks. What else it can do? So execution, I think it's quite useful, especially bash. It means that it can execute bash commands, and you can specifically ask Claude, like execute something, like for example, do something with my GitHub, revert the last commit, or make a pull request. And because it can do all these things using bash, so it can generate this bash command for you and then use this bash tool to do that. Let's keep this for now. It can also do web fetch and web search. It means that you can send a link to Claude and it will fetch content from this link. I usually find that you need to ask Claude directly to do that. Mention that use fetch tool and it will do that. It has also web search. So you can ask Claude to find some tutorial on like how to do this and this in 2026. And it will do web search and include these results and pages from the internet into context of the LLM. So these are the most important tools you need to know about when using Claude Code. Now let me clear this conversation. You can just run /clear and it will clear the context of our previous conversation so we don't spend additional tokens or additional subscription usage. Now, what I want to talk about is about Claude.md file. So Claude.md is a file that is created in root of your project usually. And this file is also included into like system instructions for Claude Code. So it will take this into account. And in this file, you can specify specific like architecture requirements, maybe choices of libraries that it should use, or just describe what this project is about and all things which are important to know for you as a developer. It can be also important for Claude to know. So that's why you should create Claude.md file. And in Claude, in order to create it, when you don't have it, you can run init command. So /init. and let's run it, and it will explore the project and create this file for you. Cool. So Claude.md is created, and Claude is asking whether I'm okay to make this edit, which means if I'm okay if it creates this file. So in this file, we can see some project overview, some commands to run this project, some architecture things, key directories, core files, some other important stuff. So you can see this information can be quite useful for any developer, and it also can be useful for Claude. So let's type yes. And we see that this Claude.md is created. Now we can commit it to our project and we can share it with our teammate. So important thing about Claude.md is that you shouldn't do very huge Claude.md file because, well, the more information you give to the model, the more confused it can be. The good practice with Claude.md file is to create nested files. So you have one Claude.md here in root of your project, but then in a separate folder, you can create nested Claude.md. So just type u Claude.md. And for example, here we have components. So we can make this Claude.md inside components to be specifically about components. Now, when Claude will work with any file from this folder or subfolder, it will use this Claude.md. But if it doesn't work with these files, it will not use it. So you don't spend context on things that are not relevant at the moment. Now let me show you how to write better prompts and work with context with Claude Code. So obviously you can run commands here and it will execute them. Now, we know that Claude Code has a number of tools to read and write files. So the idea is that Claude doesn't know all the code base automatically. It doesn't keep it in the context of the model. It means that every time you do a request, it will try to find relevant files for you. And you can assume that the bigger the project is, the harder it will be to find relevant files and which files to edit. And you can end up in a situation where Claude creates a lot of helper files, which are already exist somewhere, but Claude doesn't know about that. So it's a great idea to help Claude Code for every request you as a user make. So for example, if I want to change design of a web page, I can say change design of my landing page, or I can say change design, and then I can tag files with @ symbol, page.tsx, and I can just tag it, or I can tag complete folder if it's relevant. So for example, if I want it to use some components, I can type components and tag this folder. So Claude Code will know that it should look at this folder and see what's inside and what's relevant and what it should modify or just use. Another useful thing about Claude Context is that it can accept images as input. This is especially useful when you work with some UI, develop a mobile app or some web frontend, or you have some schema diagram. So what you can do, you can just drag and drop images right into Claude, despite this being a CLI. So on macOS, you can make a screenshot, and then you can just drag and drop this into Claude, and you see that this image will be attached. And now you can reference this image in your prompt. So you can say, hey, on the image, I have this and this, please do this and this. Because we also know that Claude has fetch and web search tools, we can also utilize that. So for example, if I want to integrate Next.js with some database and I found this tutorial on Medium, I can just copy this link, go to context and say fetch this link, and it will do that. Or instead, you can just ask, do web search to find tutorials about how to integrate database in my Next.js project, and use these tutorials to plan the thing. Now, when you have some conversation in Claude Code, it's good to always clear it when you start working on new feature. You'll just spend less tokens and model will hallucinate less. And as I showed you, you can just type clear and it will clear the context. So you'll start from scratch. If you already have a long conversation with Claude, but you think this context of your previous conversation is very important, you can do the thing called compact. So command/compact. And this compact command, it will summarize your previous conversation and start new conversation with a summary of your previous conversation. This is useful when you want to save some knowledge there, but make model hallucinate less and provide more reliable results. Now, how to use Claude Code when you work with big features. There's a cool thing called plan mode. So on your keyboard, you need to press Shift+Tab and you see accept edits on, Shift+Tab again, and you see plan mode on. So what this plan mode does is that when you type a request, it doesn't modify your files, but first it explores your code base and creates comprehensive plan of how to implement a feature. The cool thing is it can ask you questions to clarify some details about the implementation or about the output you want. So let's see how it works. For example, I want to improve my landing page design, but let's not give specific details to Claude intentionally. Let's just type this bad, in my opinion, prompt, improve landing page design. So we tag page.tsx, let's run. Cool. You see that during plan mode, it started asking me some questions. Specifically, it is asking me for my design goal, and I can just select one of the choices here, or I can type something and submit it as like a custom answer, and it will create a plan based on that. Let's try Visual Polish and click submit. Great. Claude prepared a plan for us. So there's a goal, files to modify, some background, specific changes, background container, card styling, input fields. So verification. Now you want either accept this plan and send Claude to implement it, or you can type here, if you are not happy with this plan, you can ask Claude to change something here. I suggest you use plan mode whenever you work with some complex features or you want to find some complex bug. It's good idea to make Claude to first explore the thing and try to come up with some ideas and also ask you follow-up questions. I think it's a great thing as well. This is all I wanted to say about Claude Code. We also have a separate video on how to integrate Claude Code on GitHub, so it automatically reviews all your pull requests, and you can tag Claude in your issues and pull requests, and it can implement things in the background using GitHub Actions. So I will leave link to this video in the description. So I hope you find this video useful. Thank you very much for watching. Please leave like on this video, and if you want to see more videos about AI coding like this, please subscribe to our channel. We regularly create new content about different AI agents, Codex, Cursor, Claude Code, and explore all the best practices and trying to share them with you. Thank you very much and see you next time.